Alessandra quickly realized that had she not been in a contract with Edgar where they communicated things with each other, Sally's words would have her panicking about her relationship with her husband. In Sally's eyes, it was only one night that Alessandra and Edgar were not going to be intimate, but she was already thinking he would seek pleasure elsewhere. Alessandra figured them being newlyweds played a role in Sally's thoughts. But was it expected that men would want to touch their wives every night after they got married? And if they didn't, it would mean their husbands got pleasure elsewhere? Edgar isn't looking for pleasure elsewhere. In his own words, he is not a man whore, said Alessandra. Sally sighed as she found Alessandra to be too delusional.
Of course he would say that to his wife. It is the second night of the two of you being married, and you are telling me that he does not wish to touch you? It will decrease your chances of getting a child quickly. What if it takes too long and he gets a mistress?
Alessandra couldn't help but laugh at the words leaving Sally's mouth. What on earth are young women being told? Is there a book that says every man will be this way? Does it matter that I also do not wish to be intimate with Edgar tonight or perhaps tomorrow? I am also not ready to be a mother. Due to the fact I have trauma I still don't want to be suffering from when there is a child I must look after.
Have you told the Duke you do not wish to have a child soon?
Sally would find Alessandra to be a fool if she did not. He also agrees that we are not ready, Alessandra replied.
Then it is odd. Men marry with the expectation they will be given a son right away. They...
Stop right there. Alessandra pinched the bridge of her nose to calm down the emotions building up. Edgar is not those men you have been told about. I don't know what you witnessed happening to someone else or what you have been told, but I have spoken to my husband, and we are both on the same page when it comes to our relationship. Alessandra continued to speak. All of this is nothing I have to explain to you, but I like you well enough to not want you to think if your future husband wishes to spend the second night just talking, that it does not mean he is expecting to go play with another woman. There seems to be a lot of rules for women in regards to marriage, but I plan to live with my husband how I want. Alessandra wished Sally and other women would realize that if a man only married someone for a son, or if he would grow tired of his wife and cheat on her, that they had gotten into a union with a scumbag, and not all men could be labeled the same.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump so far ahead,
Sally apologized. That is all right. It just shows that you are concerned for me. It is a step forward in our relationship, considering a day ago, you were scared to be in the same room as me. And now you are worried that I might lose my favor with Edgar. Going forward, know that I speak with my husband, and he is honest with me. It's Edgar, for goodness sake. The man never hides what he's thinking, Alessandra said.
That is true.
Sally recalled her conversations with him. Edgar had the power over Alessandra, and if he wanted to cheat, he had no reason to hide and do it. Sally had heard stories of men with high ranks publicly displaying their mistresses next to their wives because no one could stop them.
I've made a fool of myself with my rash thoughts. I understand your relationship now, but never tell anyone else what you told me, Duchess. If other women learn that you are not regularly sleeping with Edgar, they will tease you about it and claim he has a mistress,
Sally warned her. It was something she witnessed before. I would never tell anyone about my relationship with Edgar. I would never tell anyone about my relationship with Edgar. I can't trust any ladies as far as I can throw them. My personal maid should at least know that my marriage is fine so that you don't secretly meddle in it by doing things you think will help. And you are too scared of Edgar to tell my business. At least, I hope you are smart enough to be scared. I allowed him to kill my father. Don't think I would hesitate to have him kill you.
I understand,
Sally replied. She was certainly scared to do anything because of Edgar, but she had truly sworn loyalty to Alessandra after realizing how much Alessandra had helped her.
We should hurry before the Duke returns.
Right. Did I miss my turn to creep on you, Alessandra? Edgar questioned as he entered their bedroom, finding Alessandra sitting in a chair while Sally brushed her hair. Alessandra sighed, wishing not to be able to hear Edgar for the rest of the night. She saw him bathing once, and now it could not disappear. You can leave now, Sally. If only I could follow you.
Good night, Duchess, Duke.
Sally placed the brush to the side and kept her eyes low as she exited the bedroom. I did not creep on you, Edgar. I was only surprised to see you. So surprised that you stayed and crept on me. He twisted her words. Are you trying to tempt me, Alessandra? His eyes scanned the thin dress, which barely reached past her knees. This was Sally's doing. I told her we wouldn't be sleeping together, but she still chose this dress from the clothes I packed. Alessandra played with the straps, wondering if she should change. She wore this dress to sleep many times when the weather was hot, but for the first time, she felt uncomfortable in it. It was partially because of Edgar's burning gaze. Surely he could not find her intriguing like this. Her body was nothing compared to other women he must have been with. I'm starting to like that girl, Edgar replied. Speaking of Sally, I had an interesting conversation with her before you arrived. She thought you were rushing to sleep with me, which is why we are eating in our bedroom tonight. I told her no, and she brought up this ridiculous notion that you must be looking to get pleasure from another woman, Alessandra informed Edgar. Well, it happens quite often for people who have arranged marriages. There is no love, and the married couple does not speak with one another. Everyone concludes the husband will find a mistress, but they never think the wife will have her own partner on the side. I have stumbled across wives without their husbands, but it is not my business. We should all mind our own marriages, Edgar replied. If certain people would stop poking their noses in other people's business, their lives would be so much happier. Sometimes couples have arrangements that work for both of them. They don't love each other, so they agree to have a partner outside of their marriage to keep themselves happy and pretend to be happy to keep their relatives happy. I will agree there are husbands who will cheat on what you can call good wives. But yet again, it is not my business. All you have to care about is that I won't cheat on you. Alessandra never thought that he would. What would be the point of Edgar marrying her just to run around with another woman? He could have remained single and enjoyed not being tied to anyone. I know you won't, but it is just odd how one little thing we do can mean so much more to the people watching us. I am honestly glad my head wasn't filled with what not to do in a marriage. Alessandra would have rather not gotten married if she heard about the rules women had to follow to keep their husbands happy and the household together. Still, she was curious to know what else women were told. Should I close the window? You seem to be cold. The air is chilly this time of year because winter is approaching Lockwood. Alessandra rubbed her right hand up and down her left arm. The air was indeed chilly, but she wasn't shivering from the cold. It was bearable. I am not cold. Then perhaps you are excited to see me? I will close one of the windows a little bit and throw wood into the fireplace. Wouldn't want you to freeze by the time morning comes. Edgar walked past Alessandra to do as he said he would. Excited to see you? Alessandra did not understand his words and brushed them off, as it might be explained later on. Perhaps she was shivering from the cold and had not realized. Did you find Alfred? No. That man is quick on his feet when he's hiding from me. But I have an idea where it is he runs off to. However, I would rather stay with my wife than play hide and seek with Alfred. I know he means well by trying to make the two of us fall in love. If there is anyone who wanted me to get married more than my mother, it is Alfred. Why didn't you get married? You are one of the most sought-after men in the kingdom. I was sheltered, but news of your existence even reached me. Alessandra didn't understand why such a desired man was still alone. Because everyone likes me, does it mean I have to like them back? My parents' marriage was not the best example for me to consider it as something that I wanted. Love is something foreign to me, and I am certain I will never love anyone the way they want me to love them. Rather than have someone waiting around for me to fall in love with them, I would rather be alone. Edgar replied. This contract works for you because you inevitably need an heir, right? Alessandra started to piece together his train of thought. I inevitably would have needed an heir, but I long ago made up my mind to either have the son of a relative inherit what is mine, or simply adopt and give the child my last name. I did not agree to your offer because I am in dire need of a child. I did it simply for entertainment. You are the first woman to amuse me, Alessandra. You are the first person I think has gotten married simply for entertainment, Alessandra muttered. Still, she was glad it all worked out in the end for the both of them. Alessandra played with her fingers, watching Edgar throw wood into the fireplace as her nerves flared up once again. When there was silence in the room, her heart could not stop rushing, and there was an invisible lump in her throat. This might have been easier to handle if they had come straight from the dining room and gone to bed right away. But by eating in their room, there was an intense build-up to the moment they would have slept in the same bed. You look as if you're about to pass out, Alessandra. Was the fact that I am not going to touch you tonight not enough to calm your nerves? The bed is big enough for us to sleep on both ends and have enough space for ourselves. Unless the true problem is that you are afraid of me. Edgar narrowed his eyes. If that was the case, he wasn't offended and would sleep in another room tonight. No, I am not scared of you. This is the first time I am sharing a bed with anyone, and you are my husband. It is embarrassing for me to be in front of you with such a thin dress when I don't look... There is nothing wrong with the way you look, Alessandra. Edgar interrupted before she could talk down about her body. Have you already forgotten that I asked you if you were trying to tempt me? I wasn't teasing you back then. I don't know what you see when you look at yourself, but you are a beautiful woman, broken by the jealousy of others. One side of the mask covered her scars, but the other side showed her beauty. It showed Edgar why Kate was jealous enough to try and ruin Alessandra. The Baron clearly had a diamond in his hands that would have countless men begging to have in their own hands. Anyone could speak ill about the mask Alessandra wore, but they would be lying to themselves if they called her ugly. I don't like to look at myself too often. I don't want to see what others frown at when they see me coming. I broke a lot of mirrors in my room when I was younger, and I think it was fun for Katrina to keep having a maid bring in more, said Alessandra. Edgar's hand itched to find his sword and returned the Baroness to do what was on his mind from the beginning. the Baroness and her irritating, delusional daughter should be punished for what they made Alessandra endure. Deciding against choosing violence tonight, Edgar chose to comfort Alessandra. Moving from the fireplace, Edgar went to the bed and stood right before Alessandra. He had not known her for long, but her sadness stirred something inside of him. Never before did he have something he wished to protect from the evil of this world. Alessandra flinched when Edgar's fingers were suddenly in her hair. She looked down at her lap while his fingers played with the ends of her hair that were thrown over her shoulder from when Sally had been brushing it. "Look at me." His words came off as a command. Building up courage, Alessandra lifted her head to meet Edgar's eyes. "You know that I have no need to lie to you, right?" he questioned. And when she slowly nodded, he added, "Then know that when I say you are beautiful, I mean it truthfully, because that is what I see when I look at you." Alessandra stared at Edgar, unable to give a response to his words. Eventually, she had to break eye contact, as tears were threatening to form in her eyes, but she wished not to cry. It had been a long time since anyone referred to her as being beautiful and did not laugh once her back was turned. Not even her own father could look her in the eye and give her a compliment on her appearance. In her youth, she hated her beauty because her father would parade her around like a doll to be sold. She hated her face when she was her father's favorite, and she hated it even more when it was ruined. Alessandra did not know what she wanted when it came to her appearance, but after many years, hidden away from others, she wished to feel like she was not some terrible creature. Edgar, at this moment, gave her what she desired. "Thank you." The words left her mouth in a whisper, but it was loud enough for Edgar to hear, thanks to their closeness. Alessandra placed her hands to the side of her body, not wanting to be nervous around Edgar anymore. "Did I just make you fall for me?" Edgar released her hair, taking a step back to see her face clearly. "How can I love you when I hardly love myself?" Alessandra replied. Just like Edgar, love was foreign to her in all aspects. She saw nothing worthy of loving when she thought about herself. This was why she was certain she would never fall for Edgar, and vice versa. You,
Duchess? We have brought your food,"
a voice said after a knock on the bedroom door. Edgar sighed, slightly annoyed their conversation was interrupted, but perhaps it was best they stopped here. There was a lot said that needed to be digested and then talked about at another time. There was a lot about Alessandra he had to unravel, and one night wouldn't be enough for him to do so. Edgar was a man skilled enough to do many things, but he did not know how to make Alessandra love herself. It might be something she needed to figure out on her own, and he could only stand on the sidelines, giving her support. "Come in," he called to the door. "It wouldn't be right to keep them waiting any longer, or your stomach will start yelling at us," he teased, attempting to change the mood in their bedroom. Alessandra forced a small smile, and when Edgar looked away from her to the servants coming in with their food, she used her finger to rub her eye to get rid of a tear determined to fall. "Do not disturb us for the rest of the night. Inform Alfred that any visitor at this hour should be turned away. Anyone who disobeys this order will be fired," Edgar informed the servants as they placed trays of food and drinks down on the table in their bedroom. "Understood?"
"Yes, Duke Collins,"
they replied in unison. They sent up good alcohol. Edgar picked up a bottle from one of the trays. I use this for special occasions. Are you a good drinker, Alessandra? Yes. Alessandra stood up from the bed to see what they would be having tonight. As long as it is not bitter, I will drink it. And I have never passed out with the amount... She stopped herself before she could mention Mario again. They were in such a comfortable space with each other that she did not wish to irritate Edgar by mentioning Mario, or letting her husband know that she had drunk alcohol around Mario once before. With the amount the cook gave you? Edgar knew what she was trying to hide. Who else would give her alcohol if not for the person who had it within arm's reach in the kitchen? You have learned quickly not to annoy me with his name. Come, take a seat. Edgar pulled out a chair for Alessandra to sit on. Where will you sit? She asked, due to the fact there was only one chair at the table Edgar had in his room. Well, if you wish to sit on my lap, our problem would be solved. I normally use this table and chair to do more work in my bedroom after Alfred has chased me away from my office. I was joking about you sitting on my lap, he added so that she wouldn't tense up again. If that is the only way we can both sit at the table and eat, I am okay with it. Alessandra looked everywhere but at Edgar as these words left her mouth. Edgar stood still, surprised by what Alessandra just told him. He placed his hand over his face as he found himself in a predicament he wasn't expecting. He knew this took a lot of courage for her to say, and he was the one wanting her to slowly become comfortable. But now that she was, he did not know how to handle it. He could be a gentleman and suggest they pull the table closer to the bed so that there would be no need for Alessandra to sit on his lap. But where would be the fun in doing that? Like the sly man he was, Edgar sat down on the one chair by the table and patted his lap for Alessandra to take a seat. He wanted to see if she would be brave enough to see this all the way to the end. She was the one to suggest this after all. She should be prepared for whatever doors she would open after this. Alessandra took a deep breath, swallowing her nerves, as she did not want to back out when she was the one to suggest it. Get it over with, she thought. To both of their surprise, her feet quickly moved to where Edgar sat with a smile on his face, like this was the most entertaining thing in the world. Alessandra knew he was expecting her to back out based on the way he looked at her. But she made it too close to him to give up now. So she sat down on his lap. This is a lot more than I was expecting tonight, Alessandra. I certainly did not think you had it in you to be this bold, but I am enjoying this. It is not too late for you to get up before you die of nervousness. Edgar kept his hands by his sides in order to avoid touching her until she said something to let him know that she was comfortable. This was a little pointless, considering she was sitting right above something that would soon have her running for the hills once she noticed, though he had a feeling that she already did. I am hungry. Alessandra ignored Edgar and reached for a plate to start eating. If her mouth was full, she would have no way to reply to Edgar trying to make her more nervous than she already was. She placed a second plate beside her own so that Edgar wouldn't have to reach far to get his food. Alessandra quickly picked up her fork and knife to start cutting into the meat prepared for them tonight. Feed me, Edgar said from behind her. You are not a child, Alessandra replied. There was no way on this earth she would sit on his lap and casually feed him at the same time. Sitting on his lap was all that she could handle right now. My hands are full. Edgar felt her jolt when he placed his hands on her waist. It was certainly too easy to make her react, and this was considered child's play in his eyes. Alessandra would not be able to handle it if he pushed his teasing to another level. Please release me. If you have no plans to sit and eat, it would be pointless for me to sit on your lap. Alessandra began to get up, but as she moved, Edgar's hands tightened the grip around her waist. Edgar, she whined. I am sure the both of us are tidy enough not to drop food on the bed. One of us could have sat there. Why didn't my shy little wife think of that? I'm enjoying this position too much for you to leave now. A little friendly advice. You should stop moving so much before another problem arises. Edgar felt his body reacting to her every movement and knew trouble wasn't too far away. I am not going to continue sitting on your lap simply because you enjoy it. You should have told me you would be willing to sit on the bed. When will your teasing end? Alessandra tried to wiggle her way out of Edgar's grip, and when that didn't work, she resorted to pinching his hands. You are doing nothing but enticing me, Alessandra. At this moment, a little pain never ruins the fun. Eat, and then I will let you go. Who knows when you will ever be brave enough to sit on my lap again? Can you be so kind as to feed me some of the meat you just cut? Edgar asked, fully enjoying the fact she was fuming with anger that she could not break away. With her back against his bare chest, they offered each other warmth from the cold wind, and they were not in need of the fire Edgar had started. Alessandra sighed, knowing it was pointless to try fighting against someone as strong as Edgar, and someone who was determined to enjoy this moment to the fullest. She could only blame herself for falling into the trap he set up without realizing it. The sooner they both ate, the sooner she could be released and go to bed. Did you enjoy turning that room into a place for you to paint? Alfred informed me about it. Alessandra gladly welcomed a shift in their conversation. It feels nice to have a separate space for painting and not have to fill my bedroom with canvas and paint. Unfortunately, there are not enough shelves in that room to properly store everything you bought. Can I have someone add some more shelves, or can I have boxes made to make the room more organized? Alessandra politely asked. It would look better with more shelves. Speak with Alfred tomorrow to have someone here create shelves for you. Unless you are plotting against royalty, you do not have to ask to do something. Are you really not going to feed me? Edgar asked after watching her place food in her mouth a second time. He was enjoying the fun, but also hungry and wished to eat. You can eat if you would just release me, but you wish to make it difficult for yourself? Contrary to what she said, Alessandra began cutting into the beef to offer some to Edgar from his plate. She could not be cruel enough to withhold food from him. Here. She held out a fork for him to take. As soon as he released one hand to take the fork, she planned to jump out of his lap. Edgar's eyes looked at the fork, awaiting to be taken from Alessandra's hand, then back up at Alessandra staring down at him. You cannot fool me so easily, Alessandra. You are dealing with a man who predicts the moves of his enemies on a daily basis, he stated, then opened his mouth for her to feed him. Just take it. She shoved the fork with meat into his mouth, but then instantly regretted it. I'm so sorry. That was really dangerous of me to do. Did I hurt your lip? Edgar ran his tongue against his bottom lip in case there was any blood from where the fork had poked him. You are good at finding small ways to cause me pain. I think I should sleep with one eye open tonight. The meat stopped the impact from being more hurtful than it could have been. I wasn't trying to hurt you purposely. Here. Alessandra offered the fork with the meat more gently the second time. If you let me go and feed yourself, we wouldn't have ended up like this. Dinner will take twice as long as it should because I have to cut meat for both of us. I want to retire to bed soon, Edgar. Sleep is quickly taking over my body. Very well. Edgar released her, putting an end to his fun. Alessandra quickly sat up from his lap before he could change his mind. She could never say it out loud, but she missed sitting on his lap the moment she stood up. I will stand and eat. We might be careful, but crumbs can still find their way onto the bed, and you've had enough bad luck with ants already. Sit here. He pushed the chair toward her. What sort of man would I be to let you stand while I sit down? Do not argue with me, Alessandra. He stopped her from trying to object the moment her mouth opened. Alessandra sat down in the chair while Edgar sat on the edge of the table to her right. He picked up his plate in his hands and began to eat along with Alessandra. Soon, silence fell upon the room, and the only thing to be heard was the sound of their metal utensils clinking against the plates.